Welcome to Beyond Belief, the art of strange magic and mentalism. With your host, Tommy Burnett. This week's special guest is Kenton Knepper. And now, your host, Tommy Burnett.
That guy is crazy. Why is he laughing? Stop laughing. Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond Belief. I'm Tommy Burnett and we have a wonderful show today. My guest today, if you have not heard of him, and you're a mentalist, I feel sorry for you because this man has been dubbed the godfather of modern mentalism. And it probably could go beyond modern mentalism, but this gentleman all by himself has changed and influenced and taught and have written books, so many books, and put out videos on so many aspects of magic and mentalism, and he recently put out his latest book, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. Please help me welcome my good friend and mentor, Kenton Knepper. Let's bring him out right now. There he is. Hello,
Hey, good to see you.
you film about it. Yeah, so I hope, I think that introduction isn't really as accurate as it could be. I first heard of you back in the early 80s, and I know you started performing magic when you were a kid, but so did I, but I was doing like kid parties. You were doing like big stage illusions with one of your mentors. Well, in case people don't know what it was like there for a little while, and
Yeah,
then we'll quickly move to where we are now.
sure. Well, my first paid show was a kids party. I was 8 years old, and I made $5, which was money to me back then. And that first party, I had my first heckler too, so I learned how to deal with that really well early on. And it was one of those things. For whatever reason, the more I did magic, pros in the area I got their attention, and so they wanted me to join the local magic club, and then a couple of them, wanted to sign on to be mentors. And before I knew it, I was like, I was on other people's, like on the crew of like a hypnotic show of one of my teachers, and it was like a 2-hour hip show, or longer. And, I was on that. And then by the time I was in my teens, I was doing that. And I was on a 2.5-hour full stage show. And all the time I was already doing pretty magic, doves and flowers and beautiful magic, and things from music. Then I went from doing a lot of large illusions and that into doing also close-up. I was doing close-up all the time. So I had eventually I ended up having a technical mentor who was named John Mendoza. John Mendoza was one of the big techies at that point in time in close-up magic, student of Ed Marlowe's. And so I worked my close-up with under John's tutelage for years. I would go up to his house, drive up there for 3 days a week for years. So I have a background in all sorts of things. Now, the hypnotist I was studied under also did burlesque magic. He did comedy mentalism, and he did serious mentalism. Um, and the illusionist show that I grew up under was also a gospel magic show. So I just had a really big mix. But all my mentors said, here's the thing. The only way we're going to take you on is that you, one, study psychology, and two, study theater. And if you won't do those things, we're not going to mentor you. I mean, that was just the entry level, that's the deal. So, well, I already loved psychology at a very young age. I was already into more mystical things at a very young age because of some experiences I had. And so, to me, understanding all of that was just normal and natural. And so, yeah, I ended up doing that. Now I was doing, playing music and learning music and all that also during that time and even before I got into magic and mentalism. But so I've been doing all of that my whole life, and I was always creative. So to me, I would see things going on and just went, that's not the best way to do that. There are better ways to do that. And so, like the first trick I created that I sold the rights to, I was 14 years old. So that was always a thing. I was always into trying to break new ground and make a real difference and change the structure of how we were doing things. And the more I did that, the more I was around a lot of pros, and the more I realized things going. They're just not. There are things happening that are just not where I'd want them to be, and so that got me off into combining everything I knew together, and what I could learn and what I could do differently in magic and mentalism, and then that's when things started to change.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm trying to follow along on Facebook. Yeah. Well. How old were you when you were with Mendoza?
I was in my teens, my later teens, and I was with him until I moved to Phoenix. So I mean, I was all the way up to 20s when I.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And the funny thing with being a student of John, my introduction. This is how serious it used to be in magic and mentalism, just to give people a taste. My one teacher said, John Mendoza is considering having you as a student. Are you interested? And I went, oh, yeah. And he lived in the same state, but an hour and a half or two away.
Right.
And he said, well, he goes, you have to audition. I went, okay, what do I have to do? And he goes, well, I'll ask John. So a couple days later, I get a call back. Okay, here's what John wants you to do. I went, okay, what? And he goes, everything. And hung up. And I went, everything? It's like I do close-up, I do pretty magic, I do illusions, and they went, yeah. And he'll be down in a week.
Oh,
So I would start performing some stuff for them, and in my parents' basement, because that's where I, lived, and I was starting to do things, and they'd go, okay, that's enough of that. Now do pretty magic. I'd start doing some stuff, and they'd go, okay, enough of that. Okay, and show me your this. Okay, that's good. Show me some illusions. Okay, that's enough of that. And that, that was it. And then it was like, okay, here's the cost. Here's the commitment. Here's the deal. Talk to your parents, see if it works for you. Okay, goodbye. Yeah. It was like massive. And my dad, God bless him, sat with it for a long time and said, look, I'll pay for it as long as you're serious and you're doing this. So but you're going to have to drive up there yourself, and you're going to have to stay up there for every 3 days a week, and then drive back down here, and so that's what I did for years. Yeah. the first night at Mendoza's was like this. We got there up there and it was night. And so he took out a deck and he said, okay, here's the 4 aces. I'm putting them at these positions in the deck. Okay. Goes, now do an in Pharaoh. Then he set the deck on the table and said, okay, now cut out the aces. He goes, they're 18, 20, 22, 20, so just cut them out. And he goes, okay, that's it. I'll see you in the morning. Show me. That was my first night. So, because he was a student of Marlowe's and, estimation was just natural. So that's how I started, with doing that kind of close-up. So it's very funny now to think that most of the world knows me as this mentalist when my background was all this other hardcore other things too. And I had a huge, big illusion show and, all sorts of other stuff. I had a live band play with me, that I'd play keyboards on and then they would play while I was doing magic. Nobody went, oh, Mr. Mentalist all the time, Although I was doing metal bending back in the 70s, which was not common, no matter what the revisionist history is trying to say now. There weren't that many of us. And Banachek and I did not know each other during that time, which is really funny because a guy that I did know, that I was around, that I did some tech for him, and he helped out on some of our shows for a little while. He ended up being the partner of the Psy Kids that was with Banachek. So when Banachek and I met, it was very funny because it was like, oh, this is full circle in a weird way. Yeah. So all of that has been brewing the whole time, and because of my love for psychology and interesting things, that all made sense too.
Yeah. I first heard about you. It was probably 1981 or 82. Someone had given me a copy of an Enchanted Evening as a birthday gift. And I read it from cover to cover, thinking this is going to be great. And I have to laugh because I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. I was like, this is too simple. How is this gonna fool anyone? And it wasn't until probably about 5 years later when I found the manuscript in my stuff, and I pulled it out and I was like, oh my God, how stupid am I?
Well, there's a thing about a lot of my works. They seem to always be a bit ahead of the curve. So that's been true even from the smallest, manuscripts. And so Enchanted Evening, Completely Cold, SAR, Subconscious Analysis and Reprogramming, all that was like, at the time, a small group of people would get it, and everybody else went, this is insane. I don't get this. It can't work. It's not right. It doesn't make any sense. Later, those became the foundations that everybody else would jump off of. But in the moment, it's always like, it was always hard for people to grasp. I'm surprised at how many people still tell me that an Enchanted Evening is what changed magic or mentalism for them, and that got them turned on to my work, because that was a long time ago, but it still is like considered one of the treasured old pieces. So and I did some things called rants and raves too in late 90s, and those are right in there a lot of times for people, that. So, I mean, to me, it's just, I write where I feel like I'm frustrated where things are and where I feel they need to go and what we're all missing and what I know about. And so then I'll write or do videos and stuff and teach about that. And then usually all of that's met at first by a few people getting it, a lot of people going, I don't understand, you can't do this, this doesn't work. And a decade later they go, oh, well, we all do that, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's funny, I run into people a lot, especially when I'm visiting friends in Vegas, and people will pull me aside and say like, hey, I owe you some money because I got a version of Wonder Words from a friend, and like, and it's really funny. I actually, the wonderful David Goldrake, great illusionist, once said to me after a show, the first time we met in person, and he said, look, Tommy Wonder gave me his copy of Wonder Words when he thought I really needed it, so I owe you. I went, that's your fine, David. But I mean, they're great people that eventually find the work, and then that's what they swear by. So it's always nice to find that it's influenced, and it has now. Of course, those things have become normal, but
Yeah. I mean,
reference points.
yeah. I know a lot of people, probably, obviously not as many of you, but I know a lot of people in the business, and if I say Kenton Knepper, they all know your name. It's not like, so, I mean, you know this, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it's my show, and I can't. You have influenced so many people, including myself, and I am deeply, eternally grateful for everything you've taught me and for our private chats and for your kind heart and your friendship means so much to me, and I not enough words to say thank you, but thank you. It really means a lot
Thank you.
to me.
I feel that, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, and I value that greatly. That's part of where there is a gift in getting to see other people who have changed their lives and made it into what they wanted, and knowing that you got to be part of that foundation is a real blessing. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's skip to present day. You've done, in the last few years, you've done about, I don't know, 12 or 15 intensive workshops that have been dubbed intensive because they are very intensive. In a small, a 2 or 3 hour, sometimes twice that because of, there's a second session, but usually one. Some of psychology, and again, I thank you for that because most of the time I got involved with your stuff, I had no clue how important psychology is in math.
Well, yeah, no, and that's, the reason the intensive started is because I've written all this stuff. Somebody asked me many years ago, like, how many books or manuscripts have you written? And I started to count, and I stopped at counting at 50, and then I said, well, there was a point a couple of years there was writing 1,000 pages a year. And so, I mean, they're probably twice that or whatever now, but I always think, well, I already wrote that. I don't need to do anything more about it. And I had enough students say, hey, could you do like, a lecture on this part of what I know I read it, but I'd like to understand it better and whatever. So that's kind of part of how the intensive started. And some dear friends, Amit and Adrian, had to like twist my arm for months to finally get me to understand that it might be useful.
Yeah.
And basically what the intensives are is it's a live Zoom meeting where we focus in on a particular area of my teaching. And we work on that and show people how it's done and how to do it and how they can apply it and help them make it practical.
Yeah.
And we do that for, 2 or 3 hours, sometimes closer to 4. And yes, there are certain occasions like tarot or whatever where we've done 3 or 4 sessions back to back.
Yeah.
If they don't make the live sessions, they're always recorded. So like if you missed all the intensives to date, you can still get on my website at wonderwizards.com, go to Wonder Wizards and look under the categories and keep looking under categories and you'll see intensives, and there's a whole lot of intensives there. I'm really proud of those things now because they have really allowed me to get into nooks and crannies of that work that make it not only deeper but also really practical for people, and to be able to see, like we did one, as you know, on suggestion and influence, that had a lot of seeming, real hypnosis stuff in it.
Yeah.
Well, named hypnotists have studied that and have been performing in Vegas and other places for lots of years. But that's their go-to now. It's like you want to learn how to do hypnosis-like stuff, just go to that intensive. So there's a lot of the things in the intensive help make it bigger, but also more practical, easier to grasp, easier to understand. And you get to see me do things in real time, so people, even if you're watching the recording, you'll see people's responses or you'll hear their reactions to things and go, wait, how is that guy reading that much about this person? Mm-hmm. And then you learn the methods and go, oh, that's so easy, I can do that. And that's but sometimes you have to hear other people do it in real life,
Yeah. Again, for me, before you continue, for me, what's really great is that I'm sort of a hands-on kind of learner. And it's hard for me sometimes to learn from a book, even though I know a lot of the, I read them books, but sometimes it's easier for me if I can see it, then I can go back and then when I read it again, that's what he was talking about. So,
yeah, I mean, they work best hand in hand. So and there's often downloads as well as, written pieces or whatever that go in the intensives too. But yes, the best thing is if you have the books or any of the works or the PDFs or what have you, and then you go to an intensive, then you can go back to those books and go, oh, I get it. I understand all this now.
Yeah.
Where it might be a little more difficult to grasp in your mind if you're not used to it. So yeah, I'm glad I got talked into doing it. Everyone we do, it's like people are astonished and amazed and excited, and they're going out there and doing things really quickly, and I love that. But even if you missed all the intensives, you can still. Yeah. You can't do it live, but you will get the video and all the downloads and learn all this stuff just like you were there. And so it's a real compilation of a lot of my really important work made direct and easier for you to apply and make sense of. So yeah. So it's go to wonderwizards.com, which is my website, because my stuff is not in the dealers. The books aren't in the dealers, and none of the stuff is in the dealers. It's only for the insiders, the people that know about the website can go grab the stuff and get in on it. So do that and sign up to my email list when you're there so that you get all the latest, because you'll know when new intensives are coming too. So, but it's all hidden on the website, and if you don't know about the website, you don't know about the secrets the pros are going to. So it's meant for everybody. You just need to go to the website.
Yeah. So recently, you put out a new book.
Yes. So the way intensives happen, the way books start to happen, is students and friends go, "Hey, you do this thing, and you do this stuff. How do you do that? Or where is that and what writing or whatever. And that's usually when I go, oh, I guess I need to do an intensive about that. Or, oh, I guess I haven't written that out yet. I better do that. So, and that's always kind of interesting. And usually the books are like channeling for me. It's like experience. And this and a couple other things lately that I've been working on have kind of come around, and they didn't want to be written the usual way that I would write and things. And so it's because there's a feel and a sense involved in it that you have to grasp. And so this book demanded a really different approach. So it's called Making Mystery. It's thin. It's like only 88 pages, but it's 88 big pages. And you can get it in hard copy like this, or softbound, or just as a PDF if you don't want a physical book. All of it's right on the front page of my website now, so you can go grab it. But Making Mystery is really important because it's like I had to find ways to translate a lot of really deep things in ways that seemed simple enough for people to get. And so some of what I keep gesturing, I keep seeing this, I apologize. I was cleaning up something last night. I cut myself. I was real impressed with this new little kitchen tool and how you could clean it really easily and not hurt yourself. And I was thinking about that, and I cut myself. And I went, oh, I guess you have to pay more attention. But sometimes you have to pay a little more attention than you think to some of those things. But anyway, so I have this Band-Aid on there, and I know it's, but as long as it's in motion, you can.
Yeah, I didn't see it until you pointed it out.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's an outer hurt, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's enough. I should just take it off because it's Tommy, you got this is an outer thing, but you got a like an inner. See, I still got a little bit of a cut, but a little bit. But you've got a. I don't want to know what it is. But you've got a like an inner owie, yeah. So yeah. So just think about it for a minute. You don't have to tell us or anything. It's giving me a message. Oh, let go. That's the message. Let go. Still got a little bit of one, but it's getting better. So the thing about doing Making Mystery talks about is, look, for a lot of years, this goes back even to Wonder Words. My frustration with magic and mentalism is if you don't want to be fooled, if you don't want to be tricked, what does magic and mentalism offer? Well, distraction, amusement, maybe some comedy. Okay. Well, if you give me that and a popular band I can go see, what am I going to go see? And it's like, well, that's obvious. It's not going to be getting tricked. And then I started looking at all art forms and went, every single art form expresses something of the artist. It works on a deep level about something more than just the art. You don't look at a painting and go, yeah, that's a painting. Oh, look at the way they made that brush stroke. Now, if you're an artist, you might do that, but you also know it's not about that. It's about something. It's about how you feel. Even if it's abstract, it's about how you feel. If you don't like it, it's because you don't feel anything about it, right?
Yeah.
Magic and mentalism is all about, I don't feel anything about that. I'm just fooled. Well, that's not good enough for me. I'm sorry, but that's not good enough for me. And if you can yell all you want about magic and mentalism is an art form too, and it's like, okay, but you don't treat it like it. Magic and mentalism isn't an art form until we treat it like it's an art. And every other art makes you feel something. Every other art gets you to sense something within yourself that matters. And the reason I love the music I love and the bands I love and everything else is because they touch me inside, right? It means something to me. And you can take the silliest pop music in the world and go, yeah, it's all about getting money and women or whatever. But even that is still about, yeah, but I have an inner need. Even that's about that. It's about feelings and problems and emotions. And magic and mentalism goes, yeah, okay, look at the order of the balls, watch. Okay, cool, that's cool. But it's all stuck up here, and mentalism's the worst. It's like, it's only up here, right? And I have tried over the years, over a lot of decades now, to try to get people to move down to the heart too. Not to ignore the head, but let's work on both parts. And so I get people that write things to me like, I'm learning from you so much. I did the show the other night. I made somebody cry. It's like, that's horrible. That's like saying, you molested somebody. I'm sorry. That's nasty. It's not about manipulating people. It's about connecting. And as Dr. Larry Haas said of me many, many years ago now, that in the philosophy of magic, I'm probably the philosopher of connecting, of connections. And I think that's probably true, at least in part. Mm-hmm. So, it's about how do we connect to people, and how do we connect to people in a way that matters, that does mean that magic and meaning. People always say, make magic and meaningful, magic and mentalism meaningful. But how? Well, we'll talk to you about theories. No, I need to know how to do that. And so for a lot of years, I've been working with students who get it, and they're starting to evolve. But I finally went, okay, I have to write a work about how to go about that, what it is, what we're missing, and how to go about it. And in a way that's simple enough that you can just soak it in and sit with it, and kind of like a meditation until it resurfaces. Mm-hmm. So part of this, the trick to this is magic and mentalism is aimed at the outside world. And by that, I mean, at first you go, what? But if you think about it, what do we try to do with tricks? Well, we try to direct attention. We try to direct the senses. We try to fool the eyes. Internally, as much as we get, as we try to fool the mind. But it's still about by doing this or that in the outer world. And we'll have outer world proof. And that's fine, because we all know reality only exists outside of us. And if that's all we lived in is the outer world, it would be fine. And that's the lie we all tell each other, is reality is only what's in the outer world, and the inner world is when you go to sleep, or if you're one of those woo-woo people that meditate or something. But that's not true. Because when we're in the outer world, we're almost always also in the inner world thinking about it, or feeling about it, or worried about. So you watch something, even somebody in a line at a grocery store, and you're in the outer world waiting, but what's going on? You're going, well, I wonder if I got this, and what about that? Oh, I hope so-and-so's not feeling. We're always in the inner world. We are nonstop in the inner world. And that's what every art form knows. Every art form goes, we have to attack the inner world, because that's where we all really live. And magic and mentalism is still focused on the outer world. How do we fool them good? How do we cheat their senses? That's the problem. And so if we start to change just a little bit, we can do the same tricks. We can do the same principles, the methods. But if we aim it at the inner world of people, it's different. So let me see if I can give you a quick example. Okay, Tommy, I don't want you to tell anybody. I don't want you to tell us here. It's a public space. I don't want you to tell me. But have you ever made a choice? I think you have, where you made a choice and you went, maybe I should have chosen differently. I'm not sure.
More than once.
Okay, well, think of one of them. Okay. Because here's one of the things I've noticed is we surround ourselves in life with things, and those things are associated to memories, right? And to experiences. And so we always think, well, I just have this lamp over here. I just have but we don't, right? That all those things have meaning and experiences attached to them.
Yeah.
And all that. So do you have it within reach of you, like 3 or 4 or 5 things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You want to see him or no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's see what you got.
I got a cute little bag of opens up into
You can tell us about it more later. So you got a bag.
a bag, a little box,
Uh-huh.
a stone. It says Earth on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some really cool beads.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And a Crown Royal bag that has some coins.
Oh, it has some coins in there. Money bag.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want you to do is just pick up 2 of those.
Okay. I believe.
All right. Now we were talking about choices, right?
Yeah.
So I would say the Crown Royal thing is more like money to me than the bag, and the bag is different. If you're going to keeping in mind, sometimes we want to maybe rethink our choices. Yeah. Which one of those 2 would you hand me? You would hand me the money. Now, almost nobody would do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you did for a reason. Yeah. There has to be a reason, because I asked you to focus on a decision you made that you were wishing you could make different.
Yeah.
Right? And so you can put the money aside. But so you held on to the bag. So tell me about the bag.
So it's an inexpensive bag, but it's designed on an old Viking type bag where if you open this up, it opens up into a
oh wow,
a really cool like pouch.
So it looks like a small bag, but it's actually much bigger. It holds a lot
big,
more.
Yeah. So it reminds me of, I won't tell it because it's too long, but it reminds me of one of my favorite stories that I like to tell about what is precious to someone may not mean anything to somebody else. And that's the basic moral of it. And the bag holds all my dreams, but you can't see them because they're mine.
And do you understand how that relates to your choice that you made? And you might.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my dreams are far more important than money.
Okay, so you understand what the meaning of that is.
I believe so.
And of the choice that you wish you would have made differently, do you see how that relates to that?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Because I had a little note here, which you knew I was writing a note ahead of time, but I didn't really know what you took or anything.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what the bag told me ahead of time.
Okay.
Forgive holding the bag.
Ooh.
Understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
So this is the thing about any of what we hold, right? Sometimes it seems like a little thing. Okay, maybe I would have made that decision later differently, right? It's a small thing. But that's on the surface level, like the bag, it opens up and it holds a mountain of things we carry with us that are weight, right, that we carry around. And when we can forgive ourselves and just say, look, I made the best choice I could at the moment. Might I have chosen differently now? Maybe not. But I made the decision I needed to make then, and that's the truth of that. And now I can let the giant thing go and keep the dream part alive, right? The things I love, because the choice has to do with choosing what matters, really, and not just the superficial part. So thank you for sharing that wonderful.
Thank you.
I know it was a hard choice, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, let's talk about how to do equivoque. I mean, right? It's like you can, ta-da! I made you pick the bag. Maybe, but was this more important? Did this matter more? Are you going to remember that more? Yeah. Now, I know what our conscious mind concern is like, but I'm an entertainer. They hired me to be entertaining. My friends, that is much more entertaining to that person and everybody around them than you predicting a silly whatever you predicted. It just is. You will be much more loved, much more valued, much more appreciated when that is how you approach something as simple as equivoque, because it doesn't feel like it's about that. It doesn't feel like it's about that at all, and it isn't. It's about something bigger. So that's what making mystery is about. Look, I have tricks in there like choose a hand. Which hand do you want to choose first? Wow, ooh, what a big mystery. But it is, because what happens with that is really important and personal. And I think we misunderstand the power of what we do in magic and mentalism. Everything we do, and I said this forever when it's in Wonder Words, but everything we do is a suggestion. People parrot that back, but it's like, if you really understand that, you would stop doing a lot of junk that we do in magic and mentalism. You just would stop doing it, because it's a moment where you're implanting suggestions in people's minds. So what suggestion do you want to implant? I would rather suggest that you implant things that are healing and beautiful and allowing people to lay down their burdens and still move forward, not excusing all their behavior. We talk about all of that in the book too, but getting to a point where people can allow for higher levels of themselves to come forward. That's what happens when I listen to music. It might be cathartic, right? It might be an angry whatever on the surface, but it's really cathartic. I'm letting go of stuff. I'm letting things out. And then there are beautiful things that are like, oh, let me reclaim my power and let me reach for higher things. Arts do that. Well, magic and mentalism can do that. And it doesn't have to be hard work. Was it a lot harder work to say, Tommy, have you ever made a decision you wish you might have changed or you might have chosen differently? All of us, right? Yes. Okay, don't tell us, because I don't want, that's personal. I want you to keep that, to own it. But think about it, because it influences your life. I'll show you. Mm-hmm. Well, that means a hell of a lot more to me than... But do I have to tell long stories or go on speeches or... No. A simple thing, look, you're going to pick a card, right? So you're going going to pick a card. I'm going to force a card on you. Okay. Now, mind you, should never say I'm going to force a card on you, although I've met people who do that. I have met people who do that. Sadly. But instead, you secretly force a card on somebody. But as you do, instead of saying pick a card or touch one, you can say things like, a touch is a connection. Touch a card. Not bad. You might say, you know what? Instead of choosing one or picking one, let a card just kind of arrive and take it when it does. Okay, now I'm curious. Now I'm not just going by think. Now I'm going, oh. And now we talk about what the card might mean or what it symbolizes maybe or whatever. And say, but what's interesting is you felt it arrive. And I know you've had times in your life where you felt something showing up, and maybe you took it, maybe you didn't, but you could feel it showing. Which is, I had this message here ahead of time that says, to be drawn to the Ace of Hearts because it's about this for you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool. And I was drawn to it. I don't know why. It just kind of showed up to me, and it announced itself. Oh, man, I want to see that dude. Or that woman perform, not. Okay, you remember that card, right? Did I touch it? No. Okay, that's fine. That's can be fine and entertaining. And look, I still do close up. That's just wham bam, whatever, fun and games. But it's usually about something more too. And if you find any of that scary to actually do something that means something, you might want to sit with that for a while and go, why am I afraid to do anything that means something? Why is that? You might want to sit with that. But if that bothers you, well, just start by doing one thing that means something. But don't make a story out of it. You can if you want, but you don't have to make a story out of it. You don't have to make meaning. Things are already meaningful. We just have to connect with people's inner worlds. And so if you care about that at all, if you care about advancing magic and mentalism, which years from now people will, but if you want to get ahead of the game, that's what the book Making Mystery is about. It's like, it's really pretty simple to read. Pablo Amara said, oh my gosh, there's a book of like philosophical, you can tell it's early for me, philosophical aphorisms, but it's meant so you can take a single sentence and sit with it and have it unfold inside of you. On the other hand, you can read a single page and go, yeah, I can do that. That's easy. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Let's connect with people, You can just go boo, scare people. You can do whatever, and that's fine. You can go, look at me, aren't I important, and you're not. But what if it wasn't that? We can do that too. And I think that's what matters. Is it a big deal that I cut myself? And no, it hurts, and I didn't like it. But where my mind went today after I'm going, oh, I'm going to go on this, podcast, and I've got this bandage on my finger, and it started to bother me, and I went, oh, this bothers you? Maybe you should use it. What does it mean? What does it symbolize to people? Well, it symbolizes getting hurt and having an owie, and I went, oh, but this is in the outer world. And we have owies in the inner world. So I'm always going to try to aim back to the inner world. So now, instead of doing a symbol vanish, a thimble vanish like usual, because that really is a Band-Aid I had on my thumb, it's like, here's what we would do if it was a thimble vanish, right? Or maybe we'd be better and go like, but If I had a Band-Aid, would I do that with a Band-Aid? That's not how I'd take a Band-Aid off, right? If this was an owie, which it is, I would take the Band-Aid off like this and go, and then hold on to it before I got rid of it. So that's what I did. And the move's a lot easier when you can do this, because it's all I'm doing is sliding this off, because it really is stuck on my finger. Yeah, I'm putting it between my thumb and my big deal, but it's like that's how you take it off, right? Not. It was like, okay, yeah, and then it's like, Tommy, wait, it's telling me something, okay, now, now it's a different thing. I didn't go, and now look, let go, because that's ta-da. And as you know, there are times where that's important, but it's much better to simply, it's saying, let go.
Mm-hmm.
Understand?
Yeah.
That's a whole different deal. Now, for one little thimble move, that's not even a thimble move, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I'm just, again, trying to push magic and mentalism into yet another new direction, which is where we should have been all along, which was where we were originally. When magic and mentalism originally existed as actual mystery performance, it was a way to talk to the masses about important things that they could not say, but people were concerned about secret schools and little caves and people that went there to talk about secret information. They wouldn't let everybody in, and when the masses were about ready to kill these people because they wouldn't share, it made sense. Okay, we're going to tell you some of these things, and they will do it in stories. So, and that's performing. That's where the background of some performing, and certainly magic and mentalism performance comes from.
Yeah.
So when you know that, it's like, oh, let me go back to honoring those things. Let's talk about deeper things, because that's what magic and mentalism, that's really what they're designed to do, is talk about things beyond the senses. How do we know that? It's magic. It's mentalism. It's things that are about being beyond the senses. So it doesn't hurt to do that. And nobody thinks you're less of a magician or less of a mentalist by doing that. They think you're more. Yeah. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier to do that than worry about whether you're going to get caught. In magic and mentalism, the way we usually approach something is, I hope I do the moves right. I have to do this thing right. Hopefully the charge took on the electronic device. I hope this happens. I hope that happens. And then I won't get caught. And then I'll fool them good. That's our best case scenario. They'll laugh and applaud me and think I'm great. And okay. But there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
When I'm doing this kind of mentalism of magic, that's not what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is, how do I connect with this person? How do I help them move in a more positive direction? I want them to really feel this. I don't care if you catch the stupid meat taken off. I don't care. That's not it. That's not what it's about. It's about something else. That's what I care about. Yeah. Then the nerves aren't there, because it's not about me. It's about them and making them feel more and be better for our connecting. So I don't worry about the tricks. Of course we want them to work, but only if they don't work, that's fine too, because it's still about them, and that's what I care about. I'll even use that. Yeah. Now I know what you were expecting. You were expecting this to happen. It didn't happen. Disappointment. Can you relate to that with what you've got on your mind? Me too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the biggest outs in the world, be real.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Wide awake. Okay, we're all going to talk tricks now.
Before we go, let's talk about your music, because your music is definitely art, but it's also definitely magical. And I've seen myself and others be transformed by your music. So let's hear about that.
Yeah, the magic, like I said, has been with me from early on, and always been a part of my life, an important part of my life, and I finally started re-owning it more publicly some years back, and decided, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll start doing this, and I'll put it out and let people see how people respond. And you were there live in one of the big theater where we were doing a syndicated radio show. One of the first times we did a bigger event live, and people started crying, people started feeling stuff, all sorts of whatever dredged up that was important for people. And all I did was play like really one, two.
Yeah.
But what happens in that kind of the music that I write, the music comes through me. I hate saying I write because try to write it down. But the music that comes to me and the way I play is natural for me, and it's just been happening in my life. And for whatever reason, those things, when they come through, people feel it, and it does make shifts. It does shake out things for people. It does transform them, as you say. And, some parts are really emotional and some pieces are really kind of crazy, but the really crazies are like celebrations of, yes, I understand my craziness, and some of it has a place and some of it I need to balance. Okay, but we don't always talk about it that way. It's the music says it. And one of the great things about music is all the music really that people know me for now don't have lyrics as far as they know. Some of them do have lyrics, but people don't know that. It's all instrumental, and mostly instrumental piano, occasionally some other keys, but mainly piano now. And what I found out is what I learned when I was playing the bowls and bells, Tibetan bells, ages and ages ago, before everybody and their brother did it, was when you really understand those vibrations, what happens is you have to be really careful about what you're feeling and what you're thinking, because all of those come out and affect people. And what I noticed playing piano was similar to the bowls, which is I would be playing piano and it would sound one way, or I'd be doing a particular movement and somebody new would come in and the piano would sound different, or what I was playing would start to change. And I recognized over time, I'm not playing the piano so much as I'm playing the vibrations in the room. And and I also realized, if I think, what about this, what about that while I'm playing piano, people are going to start getting nervous. And I realized, okay, whatever's going on with me playing the piano and vibrations, people pick up on stuff going on inside of me. So I have to be really clear. This piece is for this piece is for that. Within me, so I feel it, because then people will feel it too. Since then, I've talked to and read from other musicians. That's my joke is, yeah, I'm a musician too, because people kept saying, "Oh, you're a magician," So it's like, it's my joke. Either way, you're right. I'm a magician, I'm a musician. But other musicians would say, yeah, there are times where I'm just in a really bad mood, and if I play this piece, people get agitated, or they don't like it, or they, where if I'm playing a piece and I'm not thinking about it and I'm just like almost detached and letting something play through me, people get all excited and they feel this weird energy and they feel uplifted, and so that's what it is. It's like when I go on, I have to go, okay, you're on, because it's not me, it's stuff that plays through me, and that's how I write. This I'll show you here. This is, I think I can reach this. This is each one of these cards is like a piece of music. This is what's come through in the last year.
Wow.
So I can't keep up with the recordings of what comes through, but I do what I can. And when my wonderful sound engineer and great mentalist and creative Tom Bleasdale, when sound engineer the stuff, it gets on albums. But that stuff is really powerful. And what's great is you can just turn around and walk around and not think about it, and it does its work. And it's all different, So I do have. You can go to KentonCosmicMusic.com and find links to buy albums and everything else. So KentonCosmicMusic.com, and you can also, there's a music website on Facebook that it's named after the old bowl stuff I used to do. So, but it's facebook.com/bowl BOWL sounds info, bowl sounds info, and you'll see Kenton B. Knepper. That's my music page. So please feel free to hit me up there and ask to join that one, because we put up music videos and things on that page, and live little snippets here and there and other things, and tell you when new albums come out and all that on the Facebook page. So yeah, that's where my passion's always, where my soul's always been, and people feel that and sense that, and I've been fortunate enough to have great musicians who I respect and admire, and A&R guys from old record labels and stuff, really love the playing, and so it's just getting the word out, right, more than anything at this point. So, but like I said, you were there one of the first earliest times.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and the sense that I got from you was that it was very transformational for you at the time, and that came across. In fact, during the piece that I videotaped for you, there was a definite change in you in the beginning, and then at the end, you were like two different people playing the same piece of music.
Yeah, it's what happens is it's transformative for me too. So once I start playing, the little me goes away, and it starts to become something else, and I feel that. So it's very much a ceremony, a ritual. Anytime I go down and sit down at a piano, I know sometimes those words scare people, but I mean it's a sacred thing to me.
Yeah.
And so it is a sacred transformation that happens when I sit down and play. When I play with an audience, most people have that sense too and get that. And when I get to play a full show, there is a different situation that's structured so that by the time people leave, they are dropped baggage and are coming out on a much higher level. So the music is incredibly important to me, and it's, you might not think you're a piano person. Look, I the last thing in the world I ever thought I'd be doing is just sitting around playing piano music. I was a prog rock guy. I thought rock, yeah, sure, I could do that. I'd write rock songs. I'd write, I appreciated great pianists, but I wasn't going to sit around and listen to piano music. And then this happened to me. So it's like, and then people changed. I watched them shift over and over in front of me, and I went, I guess that's what we're doing now. Now I get awakened, and it's like, okay, dun, 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 dun. Oh, geez, I don't even have coffee yet. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm going to the piano. I'm going to write out what you're giving me. Fine, But that's how it is. So if there is magic in the music I get to do. There is absolutely magic in it, and most people feel it on various levels depending where they are. And the more you listen to it, the more you feel it. And hopefully, people get to hear me play live in shows, in the near future, and then you'll feel it even more. Because as great as the recordings are, and Tom Bluesdale does just a masterful job.
Yeah.
It's hard with the dynamics and everything that I do to engineer that, and Tom does just the most amazing job of that. He's really my go-to guy that way. But even as wonderful as those are, you'll feel it even more live. That's all I can say. Yeah. And once you feel it, you know. Which is great, because some of my favorite artists in the world, musicians, are people that when you go live, it's just, you're going to feel something that you can't explain, but you feel it. And gratefully, that's what my music gets to do too.
Yeah. Does anybody here have a question for Kenton before we go? Or a comment? I'll be fine.
You're still hypnotized.
Wink.
Yes.
All right. Well, Kenton, thank you so
Mika
much.
has a Mike is gonna.
Yes. Thank you, Ken. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for taking my call. This has been absolutely wonderful. Ken, thank you so much. And Tommy, as always, thank you for bringing these wonderful interviews. It was a pleasure to be here with you guys live. I usually only get to hear the replays. And that brings me to my question, Kevin. You brought up a very important point, that being there live, I think you've said this in more than one variation, more than once in this one interview, being there live is very different. Before we go, can you tell us a little bit about what you mean by that? Why you feel so strongly about how important that live connection is? And I'll take my answer off the air. And thank you again for doing this.
Great to see you. Thank you. The live thing happens because you are vibrationally in the same room with where the vibrations are coming from. So while I love audio and I love cranking it, and you can get a good version of that through good speakers and headsets and all that kind of stuff. It's still different than being there when the vibration is actually being played and you're in the wave of that vibration as it plays. There's just no getting around it. And if you doubt it, all I can say is, come see me play live somewhere, or book me somewhere, and I'll where I can book the show, because it's certainly something that combines a little bit of magic with a lot of piano playing. But when you feel it, and it's because those vibrations are happening in real time with you, and you are then syncing up to those vibrations, as I am at the same time. And that's the difference. When you're listening to a recording, you're getting the vibrations of where the person was at that moment, which is good, and that's why I try to be careful of those things. But you won't get the immediate live feedback from you between the performer and back and forth. And you might kind of know this as a magician and mentalist, but as a musician, that symbiotic relationship with the audience is at a whole different level. And when people are not with you, that vibration, you can feel it. And the vibrations, fortunately for me, then change on the piano to catch up. But the live thing is really about you sharing those vibrations back and forth together. And it's the together part. I never ever play any piano thing with people in a show where I think it's me. It's always about us. The whole thing is about us, and the whole structure is all about us, and the shifts that happen because we're all together. So it is absolutely a together thing, and it's a very important point that you make, and I appreciate you asking that question, because yes, we can always do videos. I love all that stuff. I still listen to my favorite artists on video and in recordings, especially when I'm out walking around. But live is a different thing, and there is nothing like, unless you're miming everything, there is nothing like being at a live show and shifting with the performer back and forth. There's just, the vibrations are different every night. They just are. Even if you think you're playing the same songs every night, which that's not true. The way I structure the music, it's never ever the same song any night, ever. Even if the run order is the same, the way those pieces are going to be that on any night are always different. Always. And that's the symbiotic interactions between the audience and when I'm playing the piano. That makes a huge difference. People feel it.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for that question.
Yes.
And thank you for being here. I know how hard it is for you to be here, so I appreciate you being here today. And I always appreciate everybody else too. I don't mean to sound good. It's we all know performing magic for yourself is not fun, So it's the same with having a podcast. So thank you for devoting your time to us today. I know you're a busy man, and it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. And I hope to make it out to things soon. I won't surprise you.
Yeah, you know how that goes. We don't do that. Too busy.
Okay.
I should also say, while we're recording this, Magistorum is coming up next month too, and so if you're going to head that direction, I will see you there. It's one of the rare times you can grab books from me directly, and I only sign books when I'm in person, so that would be the time to grab books and get me to sign them. And I'm more than happy to talk with you about anything that I do or I'm up to. I hear we'll see, but we might even be able to work a little bit around to get a piano around. We'll see what happens. So any number of things could happen. So if you're thinking of making it, make sure you get your tickets now. If they're not sold out, get to Magistorum, and I'll see you next month.
Yeah, great. Thank you again, Kenton.
Thanks, everybody. Great to see everyone.
Yeah, I want to put you in the green room, or we can wait until the end of the show so we can say goodbye. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So the remarkable Kenton Knepper. Next week we have an equally important member of the magic community, Mr. Sean Farquhar, who is a dear friend, and he'll be here next week. Please come back again next week, and until then, remember to keep it strange. See you guys.
You've been watching Beyond Belief with your host, Tommy Burnett. Thank you to Kenton Knepper. See you next time when our guest will be Sean Farquhar. Saturday, August 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, that was fun.